Now let's start with the charging port because this one is the easiest. Make sure you clean everything thoroughly before you install the tint. And assuming all that is done, I'll just spray it. I'll peel off the tint, spray my fingers. You also have to spray the adhesive side of the tint. And let's position it. Now, using the squeegee that comes with the kit, I'll just carefully take the water from under it. When you do that, it will reposition, especially on the smaller components like this one. So make sure you keep aligning it. And then when you're done, just leave it alone for a couple of days. Absolutely no car wash. And in a couple of days it will cure. The water will evaporate and it will stick really hard. Now, let's do this. We'll again have to spray. Spray the tint itself. Peel off and spray the adhesive side. And then let's align it. Now my alignment points for this one are basically the bottom, here and here. And at the bottom, make sure it doesn't stick out so that you don't pick on it with a pressure washer or something. Now this one goes over. I'll change the camera so you can see, but before I do that, let me just say, don't overdo it with taking out the water for now, because you want to install this part and then make sure that both of them are aligned properly. Now for this part, there is this little strip over here. For now, you can lay it down. Make sure it follows the curve. Maybe I'll need a little bit more water. And for now, just leave it like that. Let's put this one. For this one, my alignment points are here, this corner, the bottom edge, and this one. Make sure it doesn't stick either on the bottom or here. And now I'll check that curve here, that they don't overlap and that there is also no gap. So it takes a little bit of alignment, but it's very easy when it's wet. Now I'll take out some of the water so it doesn't move so much. And I'll start aligning this. Okay. Now it's sticking out from here. Okay, let's take some more water out. You can just run your finger so that, you know, if it sticks out, you just push it a little bit. All right. Now it looks good. And now that I see that they align well here, I can just finish this part. As I said, you don't want the two pieces to overlap. So if they do, just push this down a little bit. Make sure to take all the bubbles out. If there's anything tiny left, it will go away in a couple of days. But it's still easier to get them out now. You know, notice because of this steep curve here, the very end of both pieces will not stick right now. Like if you do like this, you'll be able to pull out the PPF, the tint. And you can do a couple of things about this. If you have a heat gun or a hair dryer, you can just use it here, and that will do it. Or if you don't have one, you can just leave it like that. Once everything is positioned properly and the water is out, you can just leave it like that, and check back in a few hours and just do like this with your fingers. Once it's dry, it will fully stick, it will bend, it will stick, it will be great. But while it's wet, there will be this tiny part here, about 1 millimeter, that doesn't stick. Now, just to show you what to expect if you don't use a heat gun, I will use the heat gun. I'll just use my fingers, not a squeegee anymore. there's some big bubbles here that I missed. Okay, let's take them out. If you use a microfiber with like me, make sure you dab, don't rub, because you'll misalign it. What I'm trying to do now is to take the water that's here on the edges, to just kind of push it out. Yeah, it's almost done. As I said, if you don't have a heat gun or you don't want to use one, or a hair dryer, you can just wait. Depending on weather, it would dry up on its own in a matter of hours, or let's say a day, and you'll be able to just do like this with both fingers, and that will be that. This curve was too steep, and it was impossible to make a model where it's just one piece and it sticks properly. So it's actually made up of two pieces, the main one and a small stripe that goes over here. So let's start with the main one. The main one is easy. Spray, spray, and align. My alignment points here are this corner, this line, and the rest should pretty much just fit in place if this line and this corner are okay. I'm doing the first front very gently, just taking some of the water out. Now I need to realign this like this. Make sure it's not sticking out from this edge. It goes all the way to the edge, but not over. Same on this side and pretty much anywhere. Okay. Now notice that here at the end the taillight curves, so you might not get a very good adhesion immediately. If you want to use a heat gun, you can just heat it and that will do it, or just in a few hours after installation come back and do like this with your finger, run the entire perimeter, and that will do it. You just need it to be dry before it sticks where there are curves. Okay, now let's do the little stripe over there. For this one I wouldn't spray too much, because then I'll have to take the water out somehow. Just position. And if you decide, you can skip it too. I personally prefer to keep it on, but it's perfectly okay to just skip it. You just have a little bit of shine coming from here if you skip it, and that's about that. Now make sure you align this the small piece to the big piece so they don't overlap, but there is also no gap. And now very carefully, like, try to hold it with one finger and very, very gently take the water out a little bit. Because this is so small, it's very, very flimsy. It's very easy to misalign it. Now, we have two options for this piece. One is to wait a few hours or a day until it dries up completely, so that you can kind of just finish it. Or the other one is use a heat gun if you have one and want to use it, or a hair dryer, and you can accelerate this process. So let me try with my heat gun. I'll not use the squeegee anymore, just do like this with my fingers. You'll notice that at the very end where the big curve is, it still has some water, so that prevents it from sticking. So I'll have to use the heat gun a little bit more. And I'm doing like this, trying to push the water from both pieces in between them, so it gets out and allows them to stick properly. That's one of the reasons it's important to not overlap, so that you can actually push the water out from in between them. Oh, actually, I don't think I'll need a heat gun anymore. It kind of worked the first time. Now, I'll just try to go a little bit behind, maybe with this part. And again, check the day after, see if there is anything that just needs to be pushed to fully adhere, likely around the edges, like here. If you use the heat gun, you can do it right away though. And at last I'll do the bottom reflector. You can't really tell which side is which, so just align it, and if it looks good, great. If not, just turn it like this. Now notice that there are letters here which kind of push the tint up and prevent the water from coming out. You can wait a day and the water will naturally just come out, and you'll be able to just push it, or you can use a heat gun and that will do it faster. I would say that part here with the letters is a little bit tricky even with the heat gun. So maybe I'll just leave it overnight, and I'll check in the morning if I can just push it. And if not, I'll just wait some more. At some point that water will come out. Just make sure you don't use car wash for at least a couple of days after installation.